Hello all, and welcome to another professional development video. This is Emmanuel Rivera talking, and today I want to tell you about scientific literature. Scientific literature is different to other types of literature, like let's say fictional or historical. The main purpose of scientific literature is to communicate novel scientific results to an audience. And most of the times, this will specifically be a scientific audience, even though there is the exception of science articles that are written for a general public. Also, with science being a cooperative effort from many, scientific literature is set within the context of other published work and builds upon that previous knowledge. Scientific writing must be concise. This means that when writing science, complicated long sentences or complicated words must be avoided. Unlike other types of writing, like poetry or fiction, where complexity may add beauty and make your piece better, in science, it is better to drive the message in the simplest way possible. Regardless how groundbreaking your research may be, by writing with lack of clarity in your manuscript, you are at risk of people not understanding your research and questioning your findings. Scientific literature is descriptive in the sense that it aims to present clear and specific results and observations obtained from experimental work. It has to be analytical, as it must compare, contrast, and relate the results described either within the current work being presented or previous work from the field. It has to be persuasive, as it should convince the reader of the presented arguments that the author tries to convey. Lastly, it has to be critical, as it should highlight the strengths and gaps of the research in face of the current state of the field, as well as proposing potential future work to address the remaining gaps. There are different types of scientific literature, and these are written with different purposes and aim to very different audiences. We have scientific posters, research proposals, scientific journal articles that are subdivided in different styles, as well as science articles that are written for a general audience. First, we have scientific posters, where we will be presenting different aspects of our research, those being the rationale, methodology, results, conclusions, and future directions in a visual way, but also including a fair amount of text for the audience to obtain a good grasp of the details of your work. This type of writing is intended to be a tool for the author to present their work to others in person, and it should be a tool to help you present your work within a very short amount of time, let's say within 5 to 10 minutes, in an environment like that of a research conference, where you will be talking to many people at the same time or many people in a row. Then we have the research proposal, in which you will be describing your work to a panel of experts in order to convince them about the fact that you have a worth pursuing research project. It should highlight the main question of interest as well as how answering this question will impact the scientific community. You should talk about the methods to address the main question of interest as well as potential pitfalls and alternatives. Going further, in a research proposal, one is expected to demonstrate that you have the right plan and the skills to complete the research project. Research proposals are used, for example, to request funding to agencies in order to support your scientific research. Another type of scientific literature are scientific journal articles. And when we talk about scientific journal articles, we can mention different types, like, for example, primary articles, or methods articles, or review articles, just to mention some. So, why don't we dive into the differences between those? First, we have the typical research article, which is the primary article, in which a novel and original research question is presented, followed by the methods used to address it, the results obtained from using those methods, and then finalizing with a conclusion, discussion, and future work. Then we have methods articles. These articles present a new or improved experimental or computational method that significantly advances the research field of interest. This method should have been well tested proving its scientific value before the publication sees the light. Another type of scientific journal article are review articles. A review seeks to compile the current state of a particular research topic, highlighting major discoveries in the specific scientific field, and describing knowledge gaps and current debates to be unraveled. And lastly, it should propose future directions for the field in order to satisfy those knowledge gaps and current debates. Lastly, we have science articles for a general audience. These do not necessarily target a scientific audience, or at least not the experts in the specific field of the publication. It is based in a recent primary article. However, it seeks to explain it in very simple terms, in a way that it attracts the attention of anyone who may see it. These are the type of scientific pieces that we find in newspapers or publications such as the New York Times, to give an example. In summary, scientific literature targets a specific audience, which most of the times tend to be scientists in the field of interest. In order to communicate effectively, it has to be written in the most straightforward manner, following the styles of the specific field and avoiding complicated use of language that obscures the message that one is trying to convey. Lastly, different types of scientific literature are used at different levels and with different purposes.